You're listening to the Service Business Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Tersh Blissett. This podcast is focused on service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. My goal with this podcast is to answer the unasked questions when it comes to owning your own business. Today's episode, we're going to be talking to Chris Rush. If you've listened to the past couple episodes, you've heard me mention his name connected with My Easy Install. That program's a really cool program. You're going to hear basically an hour's worth of information about it. And if you have any other questions about it after the fact, be sure to reach out to me. Again, my email is tersh@icebound.us. That comes straight to my phone. And then on all social media platforms, it's just at Tersh Blissett. That's TERSHBLISSETT. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hey, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, sure can.
Cool. Is it all right if we talk on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I hear the pretty sweet guitar riff in the background.
Oh, can you? Okay. Can you hear it now?
Yep. I didn't know if you were just bringing me in the intro.
Boom, you're here.
Oh, that's awesome. I like that.
All right, Chris, welcome back to the show. It's been, I can't believe it, before we started recording, it's been a year since the last time we spoke, but, welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be here. It doesn't seem like it's been a year. It seems like a couple months, honestly.
Yeah, well, from hearing everything that you've got going on and everything you've had going on, you've been an extremely busy person. For the for the listeners who don't know who you are, what you have, tell us your background and what you bring to the table.
You got it. Appreciate it, Tersh. So I have experience in the HVAC industry throughout my life. My parents started an HVAC distributorship in New England. Have experience at the corporate level, working with Watsco in the past, and left Watsco in 2016 to start a national customer referral network for licensed HVAC contractors. And the reason I did that is because while I was at the corporate level, seeing what Watsco and competitors and basically the whole industry is moving toward, I saw an extreme need for a solution when it comes to customer or consumer direct HVAC system purchases. It's a very, very small fraction of the total add-on replacement residential systems purchase a year, about 2 to 3% based on our calculations in some published studies. But it's enough to be causing a headache amongst contractors and distributors in the industry in general. And I could kind of tell that when we launched about a year and a half ago, before you and I spoke. There was a lot of energy and commotion around it, a lot of bad feedback. And I want that as much as the good, probably more, because that's when we really come up with solutions. And started the company in 2016. Basically, since there, it's been about three and a half years of research and development, strictly to make sure that we have a model that's going to make HVAC contractors happy and most likely more profitable eventually, maybe than the current two-step distribution process where they purchase from distributors and sell to the contractors directly. We'll get to that, but in the meantime, there is this $300 million market in equipment system purchases going on online for residential every year. And these leads are going where? Nobody knows. So we're in the position now, after doing that research and development, where we've basically launched everything. We are currently integrating with our first website, and the websites are who pay us, and that's how we make our money, and we're able to keep our network free to HVAC contractors and not charge them anything on the installation price. So there is this, again, 2 to 3% of the residential add-on replacement market is happening online. Those system sales are happening online. And right now, the industry just doesn't have a way to track them or to remove the liability from the manufacturers, distributors, contractors, and then consumers, because they have invalid manufacturer warranties.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing every year. I think last time we talked, I estimated it was about 200 to 250 million. And they're estimating about a 25% increase per year for online sales. Based on, the difference between, another difference between now and the last time we spoke is manufacturers, just Like I thought, like we all thought, want to move boxes,
Yep.
and they're considering this. But I want to make clear to all listeners, to everyone, the manufacturers especially, the long-standing ones here domestically, whether they're foreign or domestic, they have the HVAC industry's best interest at heart, the contractor's best interest, or
Right.
best interest at heart.
Uh-huh.
They do not want to upset you in any way, and they're extremely immovable when it comes to putting us in touch with you
Yeah.
to let you know that we're here to offer a free solution and give you qualified leads so you can increase your business or keep your momentum going
Right.
during the slow seasons at the very least. So,
Yeah, I think that if anybody hasn't listened to the last episode, I'll try and put a link to it in the show notes. But one of the biggest things that we really need to consider is that they've moved away from Yellow Pages or that style of searching for contractors, and when something breaks, they go straight to their phone. And most everybody has their phone in their hand, 90% of the time during the day anyways. And so people need to realize that as soon as they Google that, a lot of these sites they're popping up at the top of the screen anyways, even if the person didn't consider purchasing it online, like it gets put in their head, like, hey, maybe that price isn't, maybe you can get something a little bit cheaper if you purchase it online. And since we're all stuck in the Amazon kind of mentality, it's really easy to say, hey, maybe I should buy something online versus X, Y, and Z, going through these contractors and going through the process of having all these contractors come out to my house and giving me all these quotes. And I don't know if they're all fair, if they're apples to apples, whereas at least I'll know that the equipment is going to cost me the same no matter which installer puts it in. And then you have to go through that battle of saying, comparing the difference between, is this, are you a good installer, or, that's where your service really stands out. That's what I mean, because the equipment is basically, like you said, is boxes.
You're spot on, man. You are spot on.
So one of the things about it is like, that's where our market is going, and not 100%. Like we won't be 100% because there's a lot of people out there that value the convenience of not having to figure out what they have to order online and everything else. But there's, like you said, it's only 2 to 3%, which is a large percentage of air conditioning units. And right now they don't really have an option of who to pick. It's basically, if they get into one of the forums on Facebook that is a HVAC forum, they're going to get screamed at and told to leave. and then, so basically this, like, go to Craigslist, and most of your reputable contractors, they're really not on Craigslist as much. And so they may get Chuck in a truck that doesn't have a license and is not insured, and or Side Job Bob, and so that guy's stealing from your business, materials and equipment to do this side job. And whereas the product that you have, it connects that consumer with a reputable company that is insured. And you're not asking us as a service provider to charge $500 to put in a system. And that's what
absolutely not.
They need to grasp that and wrap that around their head. Like, you can still make your same margins, you can still make your same dollar amounts, but you're just, you're not, you don't have the margin on the equipment, but you still have your margin overall on your job, the total job cost and expenses. Like you're not being limited to the way you price the system.
Completely. And we want to leave it up to our members to determine their own installation price. The reason the model is set up that way, like you're saying, in part is because there is no equipment markup that the contractor is going to get.
Yeah.
That's half of our objections to wanting to sign up to support or to provide installation services on consumer direct sales. Half of it is because they aren't getting the equipment markup and there's just no profitability in it. And that makes sense. But the same as I know, depending on what trainings you've gone to at what distributors, there's different models for how to set up your business and how to take care of your numbers. Make sure you allocate investment and are getting revenue from the right streams. So even though they aren't getting, and our members aren't getting the equipment markup when they're supporting these sales, what happens is, again, they can either choose to put that equipment markup into their installation price. They always have that all underlies the risk of another contractor not putting the equipment markup in there, so they may come with the lower installation quote, and the customer may go with them. So we feel, fair and free competition is going to work itself out, so that the installation price for a consumer direct purchase will settle in just like a installation price for a contractor to consumer purchase. And over time, we do believe that will happen.
What do you think? What really quick? Where we're talking about that the overhead expenses, because whenever somebody purchases equipment online, and I've dealt with this before myself, and they purchase the condenser and the air handler. When you go through the entire process on your site, it's not like they're just like randomly picking, hey, I think I need a 5-ton. I'm going to go put a 5-ton. So we're going to assume that they're going to pick the right equipment and everything. And they've already talked to the contractor, but there's a lot of like little miscellaneous stuff like mastic tape, using mastic, a thermostat. And then if we get out on site, can we still upsell them on a thermostat? Like, so they bought like a basic Total Line thermostat that was like $30 or $40 or whatever. And we get out on site and we explain to them the benefits of using Wi-Fi and that type of stuff. Can we upsell them on that? And then can we charge them for those miscellaneous materials, or how does that work there?
So our policy for our members is anything that a consumer has already purchased cannot be sold by the contractor. Okay. So if the customer purchased something from the website, like the system, that can't be sold by the contractor. Anything above and beyond what was purchased by the customer on the website, which, let's be honest, I have experience running an HVAC e-commerce website direct to consumers, they are not going. They're just going to purchase what's in the package that the web developers and merchandisers decide to put in the package. And typically, these people don't have knowledge of HVAC systems. So what you get is your single or multi-zone, typically ductless system, because that's 98% of what's going on online right now is ductless splits. And they all come, even if it's an 8-zone system, whatever, it's going to come with enough remotes to control each zone. Probably not a whole home thermostat. So this is a great example that you brought up. So in that case, our members, when they go out to see the customer, they say, oh, I noticed you didn't buy a whole home thermostat that you can control from one wall in your home and on your phone through Wi-Fi from anywhere in the world. Why don't I sell you this Honeywell stat? And that would allow, yeah, absolutely. And above and beyond that, extended service agreements, maintenance agreements, all that good stuff. What we're trying to do, what we want to do, what we're designed to do is bring contractors, qualified customers, so you aren't dealing with bullshit. You aren't getting a lead without information. You aren't getting any number of leads from any number of sites. You aren't forced to decide your installation price before you see the job, or before you see what was purchased, or before you know how far that job is away from you. Again, we talked about this last time. Other customer referral networks are trying to figure it out and even companies within the HVAC industry, which blows my mind, are trying to create the solution by committing contractors to an installation price for an HVAC system. Now, if it's accessories like IAQ, right, like a UV bulb in a system, we all pretty much know $100 labor. You know what I mean? That's pretty general. We're going the high end of the national average. That's fine. But with systems, anything can come up. We know that. Again, we're built from the HVAC industry. I've been getting beat up by contractors my whole life, and that's gone. That's been very valuable and beneficial in developing the solution. Is all that's been taken into consideration. So
yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, because as a contractor, you fear things like you've been asked to sign up for a program and tell this warranty company or whoever you're going to do this work for that you're only going to charge X, Y, and Z dollars for a full system replacement. And yeah, that's great if it's a garage, air handler that's upright and you just literally slide it off the platform, slide a new one on there. The condensing unit's literally on the other side of the wall, 10 foot of line set max, and you're in and out of there and you're gone. But then you get a unit that you have to disassemble and slide underneath the crawl space, and you have to shimmy up underneath the crawl space, and it takes you a full 8 hours just to do an air handler, and they want you to do it for the exact same price. That's kind of ridiculous. So
Exactly.
I love that model that you developed there. You've obviously taken into consideration the pain points of the contractors in the industry, and I know that
I appreciate it.
You have to be getting some serious kickback because of the experience that we've had in the past with being asked to do that kind of stuff. But you're still going at it full speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I actually listened to the last year's podcast, I think for the first time a few days ago, and was laughing at myself because of how much I was complaining about getting my ass beat by contractors, and that's great. I love that, and it wasn't even then, but I didn't like how I kind of shed light on it.
Yeah,
I love nothing more than that. I thrive for it. I have thick skin. What matters is what contractors think. That's why we are doing what we're doing. If contractors are happy in any trade, if contractors are happy, everyone's happy.
Absolutely.
The manufacturers, the distributors, the consumer, everyone's happy.
The intro that I did last year, whenever it was Gary Vee talking about, Blockbuster and Toys R Us, and
Yep.
industries change, and you can either, put your heels in the ground and say, I'm not going to change. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing for the past 100 years, or you can change and still be here, the next 100 years from now. And I wholeheartedly believe in that. And it's a customer service centric world now, more so than a product centric world.
Completely. And I don't recommend, going all in on something as early as it is for the HVAC industry. Let's go back to that 2 to 3% number.
Yeah, right.
2 to 3%. Right. Of the purchases are happening online. The rest are happening from contractors. The contractors are doing awesome.
Yeah,
and most of them probably right this time of year, they're going to be like, I don't need these leads at all. Get the hell out of here with it. But the good thing about e-commerce is people are buying products all year round. And it's not just seasonal. They're planning a purchase ahead for their summer house, for the next season. And they don't want to get in touch with the contractor because they aren't up at their summer house for the winter. And so take that and multiply it by whatever, the percentage of the market that is. And it's a good number of people. It's a good number of leads. And so there are enough purchases happening. Online does follow seasonality like the rest of the industry, but there's still enough happening, and probably more happening than contractor to consumer, to help keep the engines turning. And the fact that consumers don't know what to purchase, we all know that. That's the big problem with online, and that's what one of our biggest missions is to help make sure the consumer orders the right thing the first time. We can get to that later.
Yeah. But
that's what we're moving towards.
Well, let's go ahead and dive into that really quick, because
please.
that's a really cool part of what you have to offer. That's one of the roadblocks that a lot of contractors have, is you get out there and you've already planned your day out and you scheduled doing this change out for somebody that ordered equipment offline, and you already kind of have this negative feeling towards it. You get out there and then they've ordered a 5-ton condensing unit with a 2-ton evap coil on a 120,000 BTU furnace, and it's just like total mismatch everything, and you're like, you throw your hands up in the air and say, hey, call me back when you have the right equipment.
Yeah. What's going on online is it's basically like this. Merchandisers for e-commerce websites who are selling HVAC equipment go to the manufacturer literature. They see the proper pairings for systems, and they literally make a spreadsheet with every possible combination of indoor and outdoor systems. Again, let's focus on ductless splits. So when you think about up to an 8-zone system, that's a ton of different combinations. But literally, when I was doing it, we had a spreadsheet with thousands of SKUs to cover all those combinations into the product information management system. So it was wild. But when we're making sure our way right now of making sure that the installer does not have to deal with an improperly ordered system, let alone touch it and install it, because that won't happen. There's no way I can be involved in that. There's no way this company will be involved in pushing or promoting that one of our members installs a system that was improperly purchased. No way, not going to happen. I'll take the hit on it.
Right.
That's just how I feel. What our policy and procedure is in the same thing. We have installer policies and procedures. We have e-commerce, e-store policies and procedures. So our clients who actually pay us have to follow a set of rules that is basically, look at the Ream online sales policy, which is awesome. Fujitsu, awesome. They're super restrictive of what online websites can do, and then we take it a step further. So these websites have to, one of the policies that they have to abide by is, if the consumer orders the wrong system, if our installer, after talking to the consumer, determines that they ordered the wrong system, it's the consumer's responsibility to work with the website to get it returned and get the system right that the installer suggested or recommended.
Okay.
Now, I can say this, because of the way merchandisers online are doing it, and because of the companies who are really players in e-commerce, you typically have someone in the sales or customer service channel who's going to be able to help with the development of a system builder, so that there's some intelligence in a widget within the HVAC site that says, okay, what's your square footage, what's height of your ceilings, window pane thickness, insulation, yada yada, where you're located, obviously. And then some sites have a widget that'll spit out a
heat load
system sizer. Yeah, we could call it a system sizer.
Okay.
And do a basic load calculation with some AI online. I've seen a lot. The e-commerce sites don't have very good ones, just because they don't have access to the people like, the big manufacturers do, who are doing it right by contractors who are trying to do the same thing. Size of system. I've seen lots of Mitsubishi, for instance. You can cut that out if you need to, but they have an amazing system builder for their contractors.
I've seen a system builder online. I was actually at a coaching conference a couple months back now, I think, and they recommended this heat load calculation that's 100% online, and they go off of your Google address and your Google, and so it actually does it. Uses Google Maps, and it looks at the house, the coverage, the square footage of it, and it like does a drawing of the house based off of the Google image, and then where you're located, the direction of the house, and does a full heat load off of it. And I was like, wow. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost 100% sure that it's a free software too, which is really crazy, and it's accurate from what I understand.
That's for consumers to use?
Well, it's focused towards contractors, but I mean,
for contractors, yeah.
Yeah, but the consumer could use it also. So, I mean, if they weren't sure, you could put that in.
I wonder what that developer's insurance policy is, and if they have a condition where
I didn't
they
even think about that part.
If we mess up, you cannot sue us at all. If we, that's the craziness about online. It's all about liability.
Yeah.
No one wants it, and no one should have it, because the old system and the old supply chain, that's exactly how it works. No one has liability. Everyone does their damn job.
Yep.
Everyone does good work, works hard, gets their licenses, and goes out and make consumers happy and keeps them for a lifetime. We want to make this current model as close to that as possible.
Yeah, well, I changed out a unit for this. We came highly recommended. We went out, did the full gamut. We were recommended by a friend in a Facebook group, like the neighborhood Facebook groups, and they said you have to use Icebound, you have to use Tersh, and then somebody else chimed in, yes, if you're going to change your system out, use Tersh. And the thing about it is, this is a massive neighborhood, and for like 3 or 4 people to say my name specifically, and I can't reply to it because I'm not in that neighborhood group, but I get notifications that these people are saying this, and so I'm like, oh yeah, sold, done deal. Like, I'm going out there, this unit's gonna be sold. I still had to fight for the sale, and but I still was like, we we pride ourselves on customer service, superior customer service. And most of the times they don't even know what brand equipment we're putting in until the day we're putting the system in. Like we don't go based off the manufacturer's reputation. And we changed out the unit, and she sends me an email back and says, "Hey, look, customer service, number one. Like, never experienced customer service like I've experienced with you. But the equipment is not working at all. Like it's getting up to 80, 85 degrees during the middle of the day." And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, it's just the straightforward, simplest change out there is in the book. Like, I don't know where something could mess up. And like, I'm racking my brains. I'm like, we did a heat load. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, the ceilings are high in this house, and they're not normally on any other house in the neighborhood, but still, what the heck is going on? And so I'm like, I'm going to put a new system in. I'm just going to change this unit out. And finally, she was like, "Hey, I stayed home today and I noticed the unit keeps cutting on and cutting off. Like it won't stay running for very long." I'm like, "Oh, finally, like there's actually a problem. I can go fix it, but I was already determined that like I'm going to have to go up half a ton and fix this unit, replace this unit at no cost to them, because them being satisfied is more important to me than making a huge bottom line figure. And that's the thing that like you say, like is back in the day you just stood behind your word, and that's the way
integrity.
Integrity first.
It really is. It's all about integrity. I've been fortunate enough again to grow up in the distribution side of the industry, and so my family, friends, and in turn my friends are contractors, because that's who we entertain and go out with, and dealer meetings and all that good stuff. So it's a model that has to make sense for the contractor. And also it has to be an informative enough lead. The thing that I remember most about the HVAC industry growing up that everybody says is they learn something new. If they're working hard, they learn something new every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's something that could come up, and it's just a matter. The only difference is you're licensed, you're fully knowledgeable of this. The only thing that could happen that would change your mind is the consumer changes their habits and they stay home to help you troubleshoot.
Yep.
And it does come that close. So imagine what happens when a consumer goes online and they're like, "I'm uncomfortable. I don't know a contractor to call. I'm just going to research what technologies are available."
Yeah.
And then you have the e-commerce sites who are spending 50 to 80 grand a month in Google pay-per-click a month.
Are you
to
seeing
get consumers straight to their website?
And it happens. Like I will Google trying to find like schematics, and I'll wind up on their websites because like
with pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the guys will text me and something, and like we'll try and FaceTime and let me see that wiring schematic, and their hands shaking too much. I can't read it. So I'm like, let me just Google it really fast. I'll Google it and I'll wind up in a rabbit hole of looking at equipment that's online for sale. And I'm like, oh crap. Like if I'm doing this and I'm specifically looking for something, like I can only imagine what the consumer would see if they're like just randomly browsing.
And then you just, all of a sudden you just make a purchase on a system.
Yeah.
And you're going off, back to your question, full circle. You're going off some load calculator that is basically a 2-column chart that says square footage in one column and tonnage in another.
Have you ever seen the little cardboard cutout, and you had to stand on the other side of the road on the driveway, and if their house fit in this shape, it was like a silhouette cut out of different size houses.
No,
if their house fit in this one, then it's a 2.5 ton. If a house fit in this one, it's a 3 ton. You just move right
That's perfect. That's some engineering skills too, some surveying skills.
It didn't notate how far the driveway had to be, how far you had to be from the house. Yeah, that's funny. It's about the same guesstimation as one of those websites is. So
it is, yeah. So to answer your question, the e-commerce websites do not have a great system builder yet, but us. First of all, let me get to this. we don't want to put our members in touch with contractors before they purchase their system because they're going to purchase the system from a website. We can't take a new customer lead that comes to us. We just don't right now. We only send our members post-purchase customers, so they've already made their system purchase.
Okay.
And the reason we do that is, well, a couple of them. But one of them is we cannot ask our members, we cannot ask contractors, whether they're members or not, to help a customer decide what they want to buy with the expectation of not making anything on the equipment sale.
Oh, yeah.
That's just unfair.
Ooh, yeah, you talked about wasting tire kicking and frustration really fast.
Yeah. And there's a lot that goes into that. We all know that. That's, I don't know, a few hours of your time over the course of a few weeks.
At least. And
not
then
more.
The 9 p.m. emails.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, those 9 p.m. emails when you need to go to bed and get up for the next day. That's a killer. So we've restricted the leads. We again, pre-qualified. These are customers who have already purchased their system. They understand the importance of a licensed installation because they need a valid manufacturer warranty. And then we ask them a bunch of questions about load calculation and all that good stuff, exactly what they purchased, model numbers, link to specs. These are all things that are going to be coming from the website that we send to our members in the lead. And that's exciting. So it's a qualified, hot, informative lead that goes to the contractor, and it's a post-purchase lead. And the other reason we do that is, because of we want it to be a hot lead, and we want it to be, we can't possibly ask our members to help the consumer through their purchase without making anything on the equipment markup.
Yeah.
So another thing, again, back to the system builders on these e-commerce websites, we're going to develop our own system builder, and it's going to be based. I have screenshots research off of almost all of them. And we're going to base it off of that. We're already in the process of just incorporating it into our search engine with questions about square footage.
Oh, cool.
To get a rule of thumb for a contractor so they can pinpoint it in their head and be like, okay, it's that 2.5, 3 ton. They ordered a 5 ton. This is crazy. No, I got to call the consumer, let them know, hey, your system's way too big based on what I can tell. Maybe go out to the house.
So how quick after they make the purchase are you in contact with the contractor? Because if I feel like if you see those specs quick enough, you can say, hey, before this even gets shipped out, let's go ahead and cancel your order, reschedule it for, you need a 3 ton, you don't need a 5 ton system.
You got it. One of our policies is to get to the point, and because we're integrating with our first major e-commerce site right now, our intention is to have our installer members approve whether or not, or give their feedback on whether or not they think a RICE system was purchased before the equipment ships from the website or the warehouse or the factory, wherever it's coming from. That's our intention. Eventually, I think you and I talked about it last week or the week before, what we want to do in consideration of the distributor channel, brick and mortar, which is also threatened by e-commerce, and websites selling direct from the factory who's willing to drop ship to the consumer. We want to make sure the way that we do it with our e-commerce partners is if the website is showing consumers a system in their zip code. So if you're on Walmart.com, if we were integrated with Walmart.com, which we aren't. Right. But if we were, you're buying a system there. It's only going to show in stock if your local distributor for that brand has it on the shelf.
Yeah.
And so we want to integrate and work with the distributors so we're in the process of creating, once we get the contractor side completely taken care of, we want to work with the distributors and create this process where, again, e-commerce websites are only showing what's in stock for the brand that's being looked at based on zip code of the consumer.
Do you think that you're going to run into an issue where, like Trane has a very strict no online pricing guideline. Their Ameristar, I don't think does, which is their current entry level equipment. I think that they're changing it up, but I don't know 100%. I can't remember.
Mhm.
Um, do you think that the sites will have like a Goodman and a Ameristar next to each other, and people will start leaning towards whichever is the cheapest, or um, I mean, do you
Great
think that
question.
competition is going to happen there? And then, so our local Train dealer, if they have the Ameristar equipment in stock, will be able to go to Train and pick it up. But what happens, because there's a lot of times where I can get an Ameristar system the next morning if I order it by a certain time, and it's going to come from Charleston or Atlanta or Columbia. And it'll be rushed in the next morning. Will they have?
Yep.
Do you think they'll have that option also?
Do you mean will
Like the consumer, whoever's purchasing it online. I mean,
have the ability to just take it off of your shelf as a contractor? Is that what you mean?
No, not really. I mean, that would be really cool too, but more so like the distributors, so that they're not ruled out, because some distributors keep a light inventory in Savannah, but they can have a mass amount of inventory within the next 12 to 48 hours or 28 hours, 24 hours.
Like a non-stocking distributor who still rolls through inventory.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, absolutely. The whole entire goal of this business is to not just cater to the big national companies. Okay. We want everyone from sole proprietorships, mom and pop shops, to corporations, as long as they're doing right by HVAC contractors.
Yeah,
that's it.
Totally. I mean, I see that because there's a lot of contractors that are really small. Like a lot of your larger contractors, they're not going to like this. I mean, they get such price breaks from the manufacturer direct. I can see it not being as advantageous to them. But when you're first starting out and you're trying to balance your AR, your accounts receivables versus your accounts payable, and then you get like a $30,000 or $40,000 invoice from Train or Carrier, and you're like, oh crap, And if you just took that scenario out of your stress, and you priced your labor portion of it, so you're still making the same margins at the end of the day, your margin, because your top line revenue number, that's a vanity number. Your net profit number, that is the meats and potatoes of your business. I can tell you that I made $1 million or $2 million, but if I didn't make anything, right, if my margin's next to nothing, I might have been better off making $600,000, And so I think that once our industry wraps their head around that, I think that could really make it. I'm excited about the program. I mean, that's me personally. I'm excited. I know you have kickback, and I'm probably going to get some 1-star reviews because
I'm expecting it from you. I'm expecting you to beat me up after this call and be like, "Hey, it's everything I hate."
But the
great thing is, there's a personal contact thing here. Again, we're made from the HVAC industry. This is a people-to-people industry.
Yeah.
No matter what anyone says, Amazon, Home Depot, Home Advisor, Homey, whatever, Angie's List, they don't get it. This is a people. It's a who you know, treat people right business. People over profits, like it says on your website.
Absolutely. 100%.
That's the most important thing. So, not only do the installers have to, it just trickles out from the installer. The installer is the end game for anything purchased by a consumer or a commercial business, residential or commercial. If the installer's happy about the lead that they got, they're going to treat the consumer right. All we have to make sure is that everyone's licensed, bonded, and insured according to federal, state, and local.
I think that the biggest hurdle that we're going to face over this whole process is, one, ensuring that everybody's licensed and insured. The other would be changing the pricing structures for the companies now, and so that everybody's because everybody kind of knows, like in the same area, they all know, look, you're 14 SEER, 3-ton, you need to be somewhere around the $6,000 mark, $5,500 mark, or else you're going to get underbid, or you're going to get, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
so,
that's data we provide the members, because we won't tell them, hey, Joe's HVAC is outbidding you by this much. No, but we'll tell them where they fall in
okay,
according to their local market
okay,
and why they may not be receiving the leads or winning the leads that they're getting.
okay, cool.
And so we'll provide that information, and then we'll provide tips on what they can do to rearrange their P&L, their profit and loss. So if you think about like customer acquisition costs, this is something I wanted to mention earlier.
Yeah.
But customer acquisition costs, based on my research, talking to contractors nationally, even some in Canada, $250 to $1,000 for a new customer that signs up for an extended service agreement.
I think I told you last time. Ours is $254. That's what ours is running right now. So
in Savannah, Georgia, that sounds about right. Like we talked about in some of the more populated markets, Northeast.
Oh yeah,
Southwest.
I have
West
some
Coast,
friends
whatever.
in New York. I think they were in like the $500 mark to get leads coming in. So, and people don't realize that that's to make the phone ring, to get that truck to the door. Like you don't answer that
lead.
phone, you just kissed $254 away.
Right. Yeah, that could be a lost lead or a cool lead to start.
Mm-hmm.
Very rare. It's never a hot lead, and the percentages are small.
Rarely, yeah.
And it's never someone who is desperate for your service. Absolutely, unless they have their cooling out right now.
Right.
Obviously, that's a different situation. But that could be a service call. That could just be a service call and not a good opportunity to sell an extended service agreement. When you're there installing a new system that the customer's purchased, there are so many opportunities to upsell. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. So when you consider all of those little, incremental revenue streams that we offer by the ability to sell accessories, upsell.
Now, do you have the ability to have an extended labor warranty?
Do we have the ability to have a labor warranty bill?
Yeah. So,
is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So that
it's like a policy.
Yeah. Where like the consumer can purchase the extended labor warranty.
Oh, we're considering it.
Okay.
We're considering it based on the feedback that we get from contractors.
Okay, cool.
I have a number of things on the table. One with a very major extended warranty company for HVAC systems with a very major database.
I think that we talked about that last time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that's moving forward. But again, they're like the contractor. They have certain terms and conditions and privacy statements that every contractor who signed up for their database has agreed to, and they absolutely need to make sure that they're abiding by those when they share us as just an opportunity.
Okay.
The opportunity. That's all we're asking for them. We aren't saying, hey, share us with them and then pay us a bunch of money for access, for letting your contractors be members of our network. No, all we're saying is, will you send out a marketing email letting people know, hey, this is a free, no-cost, opt-in only option. You can opt out anytime if you don't like it, but at least it gives you a look at these leads that are going to who knows where. Could be the uncle who has no license and no clue.
Right.
Someone in every market is going to want those leads.
Yep.
We hope that multiple people from multiple brands do, because our algorithms in the search result listings, they show the brand of the contractor, factory authorized dealer for name it brand.
What happens if we are not factory authorized and there's nobody in your database in our area that's factory authorized for a particular brand? What happens to the consumer there? Like, do they just say sorry?
We're kind of like Facebook with business pages and Google Places. So Google and Facebook, they basically go through, and Google with their cameras on the cars, they record every business that's at every location. That's public record. And so you can scrape that information and compile your own and aggregate your own list. The only thing you can't do is email all of them at one time because I didn't sign up for your email list.
Right.
That's according to the FCC communication. So what we do is we have a listing of 3,800 contractors that we've gone around and qualified
Okay.
on our own before they've even signed up. And so a contractor who is a listener may go to our website, search their postal code, and be like, "Oh, there I am," but it doesn't show them as my Easy Install member. Basically, everything's grayed out, and then there's a claim this business, claim my business
Okay.
button, just like you'll see on a Facebook page for a new business at a certain address before the Facebook page has been created. If public record exists before the page has been created, they're going to scrape it. We don't do it that way. The way that we did it is I found the top 550 most populated and geographically strategic postal codes in the U.S.
Yeah.
Went around to the top manufacturer websites, searched every one of those postal codes for each manufacturer, and made a big spreadsheet.
Sounds tedious.
It is very tedious. It was very cumbersome, but it paid off,
Yeah.
But what I want contractors to know who are listening is if you do go there and see your company, we aren't indicating to the consumer that you're an approved member at all.
Okay.
What we do is intercept the lead that comes right now. If it goes to a pre-approved or an unapproved member who's still listed in our database, we contact the consumer, and then we try and get in touch with that contractor first to say, "Hey, we have a lead. Here's what we're doing."
Oh, okay.
We'll still give you the lead anyway, and I can follow up next week to see if you want to be a member and handle additional leads. But it's we aren't really selling anything, so it's just giving something.
I wonder if it would be advantageous for us to become like a Goodman authorized company, because that's a Goodman Amana. That you see a lot of that type of stuff on the websites.
Yep.
But we're not a Goodman dealer, and we're not Goodman factory authorized or anything like that. So I wonder if it's beneficial for us, or if no one else in the area is a Goodman dealer that's in your program, would we still get those leads, or would you be reaching out to a Goodman dealer?
So yeah, in your case, for instance, you have or may not have a brand that you're a premium factory authorized dealer for. So if someone's purchasing, if that brand's being sold online, which it is not,
Right.
if it were, and we're working with the websites who are selling it, we're going to show your company at the top of the our contractor listings in your area, because you are a trained dealer.
Right.
Because you know that equipment.
Yeah.
You've installed a bunch of them. You've been trained on it, and satisfied the factory to give you that stamp, that badge. So we're going to list you first. Now, if in Savannah we don't have any other members, you're going to get all the leads.
Okay. Cool.
For every brand.
So everybody that's listening in Savannah, don't sign up. Just everywhere else in the country. All the other listeners, go sign up. Just Savannah, don't sign up.
And honestly, there are people right now in this time of year who are hungry, and they just are willing to travel, and they want to do installations, or it's a new graduate from trade school, and they just got their sole proprietorship number and are waiting to actually get hired by a business. Why wait? Just sign up, get some install leads. My full-time job is obviously signing up installers and talking to contractors, but also getting websites. So, where we may be doing 100, the website we're working with may be doing 100 system sales per week. You get the next website. That's one of the top maybe volumes out there for e-commerce. Yeah. And there's probably about 5 or 6 other websites doing that volume.
So when are you going to be on those websites?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
I won't go past the one that we're working with until our installer base, our membership base is big enough to warrant it.
Okay.
We don't want to bog down. We don't want to get into a situation where Home Advisor and Angie's List and Yelp are at, where they're sending the same leads. All 3 networks are sending the same leads to the same contractor, and it's not a very profitable lead. Yeah. So we only want to send the quality leads and qualified leads to our contractors, and at the same time not overrun them. But if you're a hungry contractor out there, again, this is free to everybody. There's no cost to this. If it's a hungry contractor and they want to just get in and be ready to receive those installation leads when they become available in their market, if and when, then they might as well sign up now. Same with the big installers. the thing is you could be a big contractor and just want to know what the hell's going on online.
Mm-hmm.
Contact us and say, keep our lead shut off, suspend our account. But we're here. We're here. If you absolutely need us, maybe call us on a case-to-case basis. And those are things that we're willing to do just to prove ourselves. We're in the prove ourselves stage.
And you may find that pass-through money, it might be beneficial if you can start pushing people to go to online sales through your website. Have you ever seen somebody do that where they've like said, oh, you want a price on a system? Here, go to this website and then we'll install it for you.
I won't ever push a consumer to an e-commerce site.
Okay. I didn't know if like any of the contractors
I just said that. I didn't say off the record before I said that. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Not the way the industry is right now.
Okay.
And I want to make that clear. Obviously, I think you understand this, Tersh.
Absolutely.
But to everyone else, we are not driving consumers online to purchase HVAC equipment. We are not part of this movement to start this whole consumers only purchase HVAC equipment online thing.
Yeah.
We're only taking a consumer driven demand and plugging the holes and stopping the leaks, making sure that still stays in everyone's hands and everyone makes money off of it. That's why we're doing this. We aren't trying to drive the consumers online to sell. So I'd refer them to their local contractor directly.
Have you ever seen a contractor though, where they've done that? I mean, I wonder if it ever gets to where it's such a streamlined process on your end that it's less of a headache for the contractor to have to deal with the equipment,
the sale
stuff. And
one thing I'll say is that based on data, and this is 2016 data, and I've confirmed from other website owners that it's still the same. Consumers are buying higher efficiency products with more bells and whistles online, period, than they are from contractors.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I don't say that as a jab to contractors. The only reason that's happening is because the market's saturated and people don't want to lose the customer to the next contractor, so they're going to quote baseline stuff. And that is a terrible downward spiral to be stuck in as a business. And I think every other trainer for business or finance and HVAC contracting will say the same thing.
Yep.
And if they aren't, I'd love to talk to them. But competing on low price is just not the way you can go. Or competing on low efficiency, low tier is just not the way to go. Because consumers, literally, I've seen the data for 5 websites, and they are purchasing the highest efficiency equipment when the decision's up to them, and they're left to their devices online. They research and they're like, "Oh, I want the bills. I want the beautiful one." It might just be look, who knows what people are thinking when they're buying this stuff. But
it's very weird because you can offer stuff to, if it's never offered, they're never going to buy it to start with, and a lot of the
power suggestion,
absolutely, and the techs or the sales people, whoever go in, a lot of times they get into a rut and they're like, the last 5 people have only bought a 14 SEER heat pump, straight cool, or just a straight heat pump, not dual fuel or anything. So I'm not even going to waste my time offering the XV18, even though it's superior comfort system.
You're totally right.
And
in my own experience as a homeowner, that's how it's been.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Bostonian in the Midwest, and like, oh, this guy has no time for me. I'm just going to give him the low tier option. I'm like, no, I want to see all of it because I know you have better stuff. And it's a stumble from there, and there's just so that's a rare conversation for a tech or a salesperson. But
100%.
Yeah, that's another thing. Just rule of thumb, policy. Always offer the best. If they say no, they say no. But they at least know that you know your shit, and you're going to point them in the right direction. And then if they're a price-based customer, great. We have a price-based option for you. And you go about it that way. But yeah, the data online is consumers are buying much higher efficiency equipment or higher efficiency equipment much more often than they are from contractors. And that's a primer. That it makes the lead hotter.
Oh yeah.
Because you already have someone who's in that mindset. And once they get that professional, that technical minded, certified licensed professional in their home, they're going to ask some questions. And that's such an amazing opportunity for the member of My Easy Install to sell up to the customer. So whatever you want that the consumer didn't buy.
Okay, so if somebody wants to sign up, where do they go to do that?
So the website link for the installer sign-up application is my, the letters EZ, Echo Zebra, install.com/installer hyphen sign hyphen up. That is a link directly to the form. And obviously the main website URL, you have that, myeasyinstall.com.
Yep.
And in the top right, they'll find the button for the sign-up form. And there's also an installer info button where they can find out, exactly what I just said about how our model works.
Okay, cool.
How it's designed to benefit contractors.
That's what I was going to ask. If they had more questions about that, they can find it on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we understand everyone's super busy right now. I have a full-time team on calling installers and getting them signed up, and everyone's busy. But everyone's interested because everyone knows fall is coming.
Mm-hmm.
While it may be busy and we can't talk now, fall is coming and it's still something they want to consider. So, like you said, if it's a company that's big enough to experiment, maybe hire someone to handle installs. Get someone out of trade school. Give them an opportunity. You're going to train your people doing installs anyway, I would think. And it's an opportunity to hire some fresh, young talent, keep them locked in, and take advantage of a brand new revenue stream in the process.
Absolutely. Chris, thank you for coming on the show again.
Sure. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. Tons of information, and I don't know, maybe, yeah. If you leave a review, leave a 5-star review. This is nothing but gold. Do not shoot me, because I like this philosophy. I like I think that if you're not growing, if you're not changing, you're dying. And I think that if you don't have an open mind about this, you really should consider it. But if you're listening to a podcast, I feel like you're probably open-minded enough to where you're not listening to it like a regular radio station. So I feel like you're at least going to give Chris and My Easy Install a chance. And I hope that you do, because this is a really cool concept, and I really hope that it takes off for you, Chris.
Thank you, Tersh. And I hope it takes off for all of you.
Absolutely.
Honestly.
Yeah, me too.
And just don't hesitate. We consider ourselves kind of a tech company, because it's technology that makes us able to do what we're doing. But we are not same as other technology companies, and you can't call the founder on the phone and get a conversation. We're literally sending out my calendar right now so people can book calls with me, and I can put their, address their questions.
Sweet.
Some people this may just not be an option for, but with us it is. And at the very least, we'll get to talk. You'll get to beat me up. I might swing in the right direction, or maybe, or not. But at least we have a productive conversation. We're also going to be driving people. We want to create a community of this. This is a team. It's a call to arms. There's companies coming in from outside of this industry trying to take your money, trying to keep you from getting money that you're used to, and then take your installation money. You put years into this. You guys are professionals. You gals are professionals, and we're here to help you and create a toll gate for any company trying to come in and take advantage of the industry. And again, we aren't changing. We're always going to be free to HVAC contractors, no membership fee, no lead fee whatsoever.
That's what's up.
Yeah, it's very promising, very exciting. I look forward to hearing from everyone out there.
Yep, myeasyinstall.com.
You got it.
All right, man. We'll talk again soon.
All right, Terry. Thanks for everything, bud. Be in touch.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Service Business Mastery Podcast. The podcast focuses on service business owners, managers, and technicians considering becoming business owners themselves. Hope you found value in this episode, and if you did, please take a second and take a screenshot of it. And if you're on Instagram, share it in your stories and tag me in it. Tag Service Business Mastery, and then you can tag me personally, and so we can connect and I can share it. And that's how we're able to connect with more and more people across social media. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, share it, and I appreciate that. And also give us some feedback. you can reach out to me via email, tersh@icebound.us. Let me know if you love it or hate it. It's very much outside of the box thinking, so I'm curious kind of what your thoughts are with it. But anyways, thank you again for listening to another episode of the Service Business Mastery Podcast, and we'll talk again next week. Have a wonderful day.